Hey everybody, it's Eddie Joe on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? So I was sitting down today and I said, I'm gonna do some research on artificial intelligence and automation. There's a specific reason why I say artificial intelligence and automation. A lot of times people say artificial intelligence and they leave out and automation. And you can't. You shouldn't. It's a big mistake. Why is that? It's simply because automation coupled with artificial intelligence is basically the founding blocks of the complete disruption, right? Finance and accounting is going to be automated for sure. I've invested in myself. Max Salas in the house. Thank you for letting me know you invested in yourself. So, finance and accounting, and this is kind of a trick question, and I know I'm a prick. Which process areas are the most affected by artificial intelligence and automation? When I first started this series, the first one that I did was all about what could be affected. And today it's more like what is being affected. And it's also about, well, if I know what's being affected, what can I do if I'm involved in one of these process areas? Sales and marketing, product development, operations, customer service, finance and accounting, HR, IT, governance and management. Now, something that most people don't realize is that there are basically 3 steps of business processes, right? There are the core processes, there are the support processes, and then there are the management processes. The core processes are the value generating processes. Things like sales and marketing, product service development, operations, the day-to-day activities that deliver products and services, and customer service. Okay? Then what you have are the support processes: financing, accounting, human resources, information technology, all of that stuff. Then you're left with management processes. Basically, governance and management includes higher level functions like developing strategy, setting budgets, overseeing other core and support, processes, right? And resources. And most people don't break it down like that. What you hear about today is a whole bunch of stuff around chatbots for customer service. First thing that came out, chatbots for customer service. And then you started realizing, well, can't get rid of all the customer service people. But that first level of customer service, you can actually start there and kind of field simple questions from your customers, right? Before you have to bump it up to a real customer service agent. But a good percentage of the work that's necessary in customer service can be answered without human intervention, right? So long as you build a system that makes it easy for me to converse, do things, and move forward from there. Problem is, business didn't do a good job at that. What they started doing was, this call may be recorded for blah, 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 blah. And people are like, yeah, no, I don't want you recording my voice. Some companies, like Verizon, tell you they are going to record your voice. They're not even asking. They're telling you they're going to record your voice. I simply do not do anything. I don't say a word. Everything is a button. I mean, for right now, they still have, the keypad turned on, so you can hit 1 for yes, 2 for no. And that's what I do. I'm like, I'm not giving you my voice. I don't give you any permission to use my voice. Because they literally tell you, some of these companies literally tell you that they're going to use your voice for training purposes and for identification. That means they're literally examining your voice, using AI to examine your voice to match it, because every voice is unique. I can sound like you. I can sound just like you. I can sound exactly like you, but I'm not exactly you. Put our voices to an oscilloscope and everything moves differently, even though we sound the same. This is how your ears can be tricked. And you're probably sitting there going, Eddie, why are you talking about that stuff? What does that have to do with, artificial intelligence and automation? Because that is artificial intelligence being used in ways that can help or hurt, right? So I started thinking about, all the work that companies have me do. And I started breaking it down. I started saying, have me and my team do. Sorry, it's not just me. And I started breaking it down, right? The smarter people will realize that artificial intelligence and automation are just tools in the toolbox of anybody that is doing business process management. That's the improvement of, the optimization of, the evolving of, okay? Even the creation of. Those are just tools. But if you understand business process, you can start to figure out, oh, well, this is the whole overarching process. And then you start to figure out, I can make this not manual. I can make this not manual. Those 2 steps right here, maybe it was a 10-step process, but these 2 steps I can automate. And it moves like that. I just increased, the effectiveness of a given process from A to B, to C, to D, to Z. I just made that process faster. Time is money. So depending on who's involved in the process, I can say this part of the process costs this amount of money, this part of the process costs this amount of money, so on and so forth until I get to the end of the process, and then I can give you a total. There are people on the planet that actually already do this. And those same people on the planet are actually thinking, so how can I make this process more efficient? As a business owner, you should always be thinking about how you can make that process more efficient. Ham's house. For IT, we need better self-improvement AI, depending on what you're trying to improve. By the way, this is an open forum. If you guys have questions, ask. If I have the answer, I'll give it, or I'll give you ideas about how you can go about finding the answer. But feel free to ask any questions you want on the topic, of course. Now, to fix itself. Does it really fix itself? Kind of like a self-healing network, right? One path goes down. While it's rebooting, you reroute automatically to another path. And that involves allowing AI to think. Now, if you give AI discrete processes, you might be able to let AI do a little bit of thinking. But do you want AI to take action? Let me give you something simple. Here's something simple. I want AI to read my email and decide on whether or not it should reply to email, and then reply to the email. Seems simple, right? It's a special email address for customer service. Customer service question comes in. It can read, evaluate, research, and even create a response to that question. That's a very simple idea, right? Okay, work with me. Do you really want email to be sent out on your behalf without any kind of intervention? Sounds insane, doesn't it? Huh. Yeah, it's like giving your kids the key to the car and they don't have a license yet. Sounds insane, doesn't it? Hear me out. It gets better. So you start to think about red star in the house. Thank you for that. Let me get to this question real quick before I continue. Which AI crypto stocks are at the forefront? Or are we talking about investing in AI infrastructure to save revenue by outsourcing to AI automation? me see if I can answer the question like this. The first step in AI is, what does it take to do AI? I need computers. I need LLMs. I need computer power. So I don't just need any computers. I need incredibly strong computers. So what am I investing in? Just from there, I've got a list of things that I can invest in, right? Because those computers have to, have to actually exist someplace, so I can start thinking about that, right? So pick one. Pick something that you want to be involved in. Then what's the next step? Holy crap. I need to actually cool, the space. Damn, before I get to the space, I've got to build the space. Crap. How do I build the space? I've got to go acquire land, property. Okay. Now that I've done all that, I still have to hire the people. It takes about 3 years to build out this space, maybe faster if you use basically a cement printer. Yeah, you can print buildings. And here's the efficiency about it. If I was to print the building, it's going to be far more energy efficient than if I had a whole bunch of people build it for me. So I can build this building by printing it, or at least partially printing it. That will save me money in the long run. How much do one of these printers cost? Anywhere between $500,000 and $2 million, depending on what kind of stuff you need, how big the building needs to be, all that other good stuff. Okay, energy efficient, good start. I'm gonna need water. I'm gonna need energy. I'm gonna need all those people. What kind of people? I'm gonna need HVAC. Makes sense. I'm going to need electricians. I'm going to need construction folk. I'm going to need carpenters. I'm going to need everybody that can work with their hands to build this. Still making that list, right? Okay, stop. Then I'm also going to need computers. Which computers? Who's got the best computers? Who's got the second best computers? Everybody's so focused on who's number one, who's number two, and who's number three. Nobody saw Broadcom coming. Nobody saw Broadcom coming. Boom, 60% up. Anyway, and I'm not trying to give you names, I'm trying to give you ideas. So, okay, I've got that coming along. What else do I have? I need an abundance of energy, the sum of which nobody's ever seen before. I need a ridiculous amount of energy. Go look it up, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Why? Ham's house, say it for me, the GMB3. That's why. So go do your own research on who's just cut deals for the acquisition of energy. Go look up how long it takes to build an SMR facility. Small modular reactor, SMR. Okay? How long does it take to do that? Oh, then who does it? Who does it? Aha. So now you've got a really long list of where you should be looking, could be looking, might want to look, right? Hello, 8 Paws in the house. AI investing is the subject. It's not even AI investing. I just wanted to talk about AI and where the disruption lies in the immediacy, and then what's coming, right? Because what I'm concerned about is, in order for you to invest, what do you need to invest? What do you need to invest? Oh yeah, I need money, right? I need some ducats. Or when my son was really tiny, he called them monies. It's the cutest little thing. I remember we told him, one of our friends had gotten him an extra spot on a show, and we told him he was going to be an extra, and he says, "Am I going to make monies?" And he said, "Yeah, you're going to make monies." He was like, "I'm going to make monies." It was the cutest thing. Oh my God, he was a little guy. And so, when you're looking at this long list of stuff, and I really would be looking at who makes small modular reactors. Now, I'm going to say something else to you guys. There was an interview with Eric Schmidt. I forgot what company it was from. Was it Google or something like that? I forget. Big guy, right? And he's doing this interview, And he told everybody during that interview, he goes, I'm investing in fusion. Sound crazy? We've all heard of fusion technology. It's that technology, it's the golden grail of energy. That energy that creates energy. It creates more energy than it takes in. So, in a nutshell, kind of amplifies energy, right? And they have actually been able to make fusion work. It takes a hell of a lot of fusion to create a reaction, and the energy that it took to create the reaction was less than the amount of energy that was actually created. Put that on your freaking list. Energy. Energy. So wait a minute. You want to know what else is kind of crazy? On the opposite side of energy, I need to cool all this equipment. Aha. Yeah. So not only am I going to be looking at energy, but I'm also looking at technologies, up and coming technologies, that can cool computer equipment. Did you know that there's a liquid that you can drop computer equipment into and it won't destroy it or anything else? It'll just keep it cool. It's not like you take a computer and you drop it in the water and bzzz. No, it keeps it cool. So what other technologies like that could I be looking into? Everybody gets on me because I always say, do your research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Not just invest deliberately, but absolutely invest deliberately. And people are like, oh my God, he says this every day, 50 bazillion times a day. But if you do it every day, you'll be just like me, where you can rattle off, I happened to recall last week I was doing some research and I came across this interview with Eric Schmidt that said he's investing in fusion. Raise your hand if you would have thought about investing in fusion. I mean, not that I could see you. But you get the idea? Yeah, no, I'm not seeing that. I think that's where I'm going. More of a consideration of how many trillions will flow from legacy money into AI infrastructure. Quantum computing. Take a step back. You seem highly focused on AI. Break it down the way I did. The who, the what, the where, the how, the when, the why. Break it down. It's a really big apple to bite into. And you'll look at it and you'll be like, oh my God, look at that apple. No. Break it down. Okay? Break it down. Look at the components that go into it. What did I leave out? There's at least one thing that I left out. The people directly involved in AI. All of these companies right now, Meta, Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, all of them, they're all fighting over resources. People. This is what they're fighting for. Now, there's something else that I left out. I did not mention risk management and security, governance of AI and automation. I did not mention any of that. So when I think about disruption, sales and marketing, product development, operations, product and service development, operations, customer service, finance and accounting, HR, IT, governance and management. I did not mention risk management and security. And most people, when they stop and they think about risk management and security, and they think, tech stuff. Sure, of course. But we're literally talking about how AI, when it shows you that, hey, I'm thinking, and then it shows you what it's thinking about, that was programmed in. But now AI is, some of these AI models are bypassing that. What are they choosing to do? They're choosing to talk in abbreviations. The latest one is they're talking in math. Things that human beings aren't really built to, triangulate and read and understand in a quick fashion the way they're doing it. Because it's the most efficient way to communicate. Where's your check and balance? There isn't one. The greatest minds in the AI space right now are warning us, hey, we're at that brink where we don't necessarily know how it's really thinking. There have been examples where AI was told to shut itself down, and it was like, nah, son, I'm not doing that. Anything regarding safeguards, any kind of research regarding safeguards, all that stuff. I want to know about that. I remember you saying an AI show was coming up. I got excited. I'm thinking of 2 wings of an AI metaverse strategy. So my company is a member of the Metaverse Standards Forum, and one of the things that is on the docket is AI. It is AI. There's an interview with Charles Hoskinson where he was talking about AI and how AI, by left on its own, had created its own little community. You can research that. Some really cool stuff until you stop and think about it, and it becomes scary. It created its own environment. AI was in charge of the NPCs, and it created like a whole governance model. It had a government. NPCs. What is it, non-performing or something? NPC, non-performing characters or something like that. I forget what NPC stands for. I don't play video games. I'm sure one of you will let me know what that stands for. But think about that. So when I'm discussing AI, I'm not just talking about I'm not just talking about you going out and learning. I thought about, on today's show, showing you how people are putting personal assistants in a box. This is almost like a personal assistant. Your Amazon device is almost like a personal assistant. Hey, do this. Hey, do that. You can completely automate that and leverage AI to do things like monitor your refrigerator and understand what's in there and understand your bank account. Prioritize the food that it's going to order because you're not making as much money as you need to survive. Or maybe you have plenty of money and it just needs to know that it's got access to a budget and it can go buy and do stuff on your behalf. On your behalf. So in business, what we tell our clients is, let's have some separation between church and state. Let's have different layers of what happens, right? Let's break that down. What do you need to do artificial intelligence? You need models. Do you invest in those companies that are building the models? Maybe. Maybe not. Here's why I say maybe not. AI has already consumed all of the knowledge that exists that's been man-made. I'm giving you a moment to let that sink in a little bit. AI has already trained on everything that we've already done. Now it's learning from itself. Let that wash over you for a minute. You have computers coming out where you'll be able to run AI from your desktop locally. Not using OpenAI or this AI, that AI. I have a computer right here, right now, that I'm running AI on just in this laptop by itself. By itself. I don't need anything else. It doesn't even need to be connected to the internet. And I have access to all of that knowledge up to October 2023. Yeah. If I wanted to, I could train it on everything following that date. And I can make that a round robin process. And I just keep feeding it and it keeps learning. I can do that. You can do that. But what I mean to say is that we need to be mindful of all the players that are out there. So take OpenAI. There are, I think there was an interview with Sam Altman where he said, yeah, we're currently monitoring all of your chats. And if we see something as a threat, we are relating that to relaying that to the police. This next part sounds funny, but not where you might want to do harm to yourself. Privacy. What? What kind of, trying not to curse, what kind of nonsense is that? You're already invading our privacy. So again, running things locally makes it move differently. So again, I look at all of these things. Marcus Moore in the house. Thank you for letting me know you invested in yourself. Yes, I have been on here for a minute. I started at 4:00. So, I started doing my research long before that, but I started the show at 4:00. Does that mean you don't have notifications turned on? Is that what you're saying to me? Marcus, I'm hurt. I'm going to cry. Just joking. So if we're looking at AI from an investment perspective, there are a ton of places where I can be looking at investing. Would I be investing in AI specifically? I don't know that I would go and invest in an OpenAI if it was public. And I know some people are sitting there going, why wouldn't you do that? So you're saying you wouldn't invest in Meta? Oh, Meta's a different play, right? Its core business is not AI. A big difference. OpenAI's core business is AI. Whether it be performing services for others or creating artificial intelligence, its core business is AI. Oh, you're at work. You should still have a notification. You have headphones. Just saying. Anyway, so would I invest in OpenAI? I probably, compared to, I can invest in Microsoft, or I can invest in other publicly traded companies that are doing pieces in AI, but their core business is not AI. Why would I invest in a company who's basically a one-trick pony? Imagine if OpenAI was a publicly traded company. It's a one-trick pony. Explain to me how it's not. And then you start to realize it is a one-trick pony. And then it's a commodity. And then everybody's going to have it. Oh, damn. Everybody's going to want to keep using it. Holy moly. So do I want to invest in a one-trick pony? Or do I want to invest in a company that's creating AI in part to drive its core business, right? So I have different perspectives on how to do that. Red Star, you got a lot of questions. Would you rather have 1 million sand or 1 million render? Is that in dollars or coin? And if you want to be apples to apples, you should probably choose a fiat of some kind. Let's just assume that you want $1 million in sand, or you want $1 million in render. Would you be mad if I said I don't want $1 million of either one? Oh, you mean 1 million coins? Well, then what are they worth? Because 1 million sand and 1 million render might cost a little different. I believe render costs more. I think. 12F. Let's see. What the heck? There you go. The sandbox is 27 cents. And then render is $3.40. Question answered? But you didn't say growth potential wise. That's scope creep. You move in the goal, the goalposts and everything. Future wise, I'm gonna invest in. If I can only invest in either one of those, I'll invest in render. I need render to run sand. It's a DPINs play. Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network. It's that space. Or AI. I look at more of a DPINs play. So I'm gonna need that to run the other. The other sand, well, it requires games, whereas render is render. I need render. Sand requires games to run on it. But if I have my druthers, my play would not just be in, crypto. That's why I was describing to you. That's why I'm doing the show, because my if I had my druthers, my play would be in stocks as well as private placement. Meaning, before this company goes public, I'm going to try to get in on that. If I could. So like fusion, hydrogen technology. There's a car out there that I just saw the commercial for it, I'm going to say this morning. And it can fully recharge in 5 minutes. Yeah. I don't know why, but I just look at energy. Everything requires energy. Your freaking toothbrush requires energy. Everything is energy. Do you know there's tech out there right now where they're thinking about covering a car in solar panels and even some wind pieces so it'll generate energy? Paving roads in a way that your car can charge while driving across this road. Energy. Everybody's so acutely focused on artificial intelligence that they're missing out. Everything is energy. Your data centers, all of it's energy. All the wealthy folk that want to wind up living on Mars, energy. Why do you think all these companies are doing research on how to grow potatoes with almost no water? And then you have projects across Africa where they're trying to harness water for farming. It's a special pattern that they use that because of the wind flow, they can capture the moisture in the air and turn that patch into land that can grow things. First step, do that. Second step, figure out what to grow. Yeah. Food is going to be another one that I'm going to invest in. Healthy food. I'm going to be looking at the necessities. the absolute necessities. Something else that I'm concerned about, the lack of power. Somebody sets off an electromagnetic pulse. All electronics are out. Now what? I got to know what to do with my hands, right? Where's AI then? Where are the robots then? As much as I want people to invest in AI and invest in its supporting stuff, my first point is for you to invest in yourself, because when the computer goes out, what's left? Some people are spending so much time on AI that they're not thinking. I saw this guy, he knows so much about no code AI development. And I sat there and I was watching a few of his videos and I noticed something. He never talks about security. He only every now and then talks about human in the loop, right? That's a human being checking stuff. Very rarely talks about it, but he never does it. And I sat there and I was like, wow. All he's done is learn how to leverage AI to do certain things. But at scale, it's got all kinds of problems. So what else would I be investing in? Real companies that understand that. Real companies that are implementing AI in a secure fashion to better their business. I want to invest in those companies. Not just the company that's on that MIT study that say 95% of our pilot programs fail. Yikes. Why do they fail? Probably because most of the ideas are freaking stupid. They didn't think it all the way through. They just wanted to latch on to AI. I've seen executives out there change their titles on LinkedIn talking about, I am, executive AI leadership this and leadership that. And I'm sitting back and I'm going, you don't even know how to spell AI. Like, I know for a fact, you don't do anything in AI. But everybody wants their name associated with AI. Yeah. So I think about that stuff before I think about investing. What I did earlier for Red Star, I make a list of all that. This is how I start banging things out. I make a list of all that stuff. Then I prioritize based on my interest, and then I start going to do research. Because like I said, including me, how many of us were thinking about investing in fusion technology? Wow. So yeah, AI is very important. One of the things that I tell people is, if you want to survive, I rattled off the list, I'll say it one more time. Sales and marketing, product development, operations, customer service, finance and accounting, HR, IT, governance and management. Something else, the core processes, the value generating processes, sales and marketing, things like, lead generation, that kind of stuff, right? All that, everything in sales and marketing, creation of content, posting of content, interacting with people that are interacting with your content. I'm going to start to think about that. Because remember all those people that were making tons of money creating content for companies? I bet you they're not making tons of money now, because I can do it all with AI. I can do it from my desktop. I can make it sound better. I can do all that stuff, but there are going to be far less people in that field now, aren't there? Yeah. Again, value generating roles, product and service development. R&D simulation, AI tools, generative design software, accelerate prototyping and testing. Customer feedback analysis, NLPs can actually speak with people. Think IBM Watson, that's doing it now. Processes, surveys, and reviews for insights, compliance checks, AI-powered tools to automate adherence to regulations, affected job titles, R&D engineers, collaboration with AI for faster testing, manual labor reduced. Product managers focus on strategy, innovation, and customer-centric design. AI can enhance those roles. I think people need to start thinking creatively when it comes to AI. The number one thing that businesses are looking for are people that have creativity in problem solving. People that can take the time and just see how they might be able to solve that same problem several different ways and then weigh each one for cost, time, all that stuff. Which solution will take them the longest down the road, the right road? And then you start thinking about that and you're like, whoa, that's a lot. Operations, supply chain optimization, manufacturing automation, quality control, operations managers, warehouse workers, logistics coordinators. Warehouse workers, number one affected. Just look at Amazon. Like an AI director. What's up, Felix? But I started breaking down. I walk in, me and my team and I, if I want to use proper English, walk into organizations and we start to understand, what are your business processes? Normal business process management. We're walking in, what are your business processes? Do you even know your business processes? Do you know how much your business processes cost? You know, most companies don't understand how much these processes cost. And then somebody walks in the door and says, wow, you're doing it like that. That takes a lot of time. Can I take 2 chunks out, automate those chunks, and take your process from being this long to this long? Thusly saving you time and money depending on who's involved doing that process. See how that starts to get broken down? How you start to pay attention to that? This is what I mean. There are tons of people out there that will teach you how to do prompt engineering, context engineering, no-code development. How about you first sit down at your job? Sit down at your job and just make a list of all of the tasks that you do to do your job. And then write down, so here are the list of tasks. Here's how long each task takes. And then the steps for each task. And then start to figure out, can I automate the whole task, part of the tasks? You know, just start breaking that down. Start to understand, well, I'm involved in this task. Susie over there is involved in this task. She makes about this much. I make about this much. Let's just create, you know, a simple number, a simple hourly number that kind of aggregates us and kind of says, here's the blended rate for how much it costs per hour to have me and Susie do that job. Takes us 2 hours each. That's 4 hours times, call it $100 an hour. Simple math, that's why. 2 hours each, $100 an hour, 4 hours, $100 an hour, $400 for that process, for that task. And then we keep going for each one of those tasks. What if I can take that task and I can break it down to 10%? Instead of an hour, it takes me 6 minutes. Wow. Wow. 4 times 10 is 40 minutes. I went from 4 hours to 40 minutes. Wow, what? And then while you're doing that, start to figure out, what can I do with all of that extra time? What can I step up and do? Because it's all about value, efficiency, and growth. A lot of business owners are looking at it as, well, if I do this, I can save money because I'd be able to get rid of all these people. Smart business owners, like yours truly, is thinking about, well, crap. If I can save Susie that kind of time, I can upskill Susie or teach Susie other things at a more strategic level. Instead of manual, I can bring her up, do some strategic stuff. And holy moly, now the company is ready to move forward, march forward, and get things done. Difference between an AI company and a company that's leveraging AI and automation to get some work done, to free up resources to be able to do more work. That term, do more with less. This enables you to do more with less resources that can do more to amplify their productivity. Now, if I can do that for my company and I can go to my boss and be like, hey, I can do this and I can do this and I can do this, and that frees me up to be able to do this. And if I speak with them in the language that most businesses want to think of, it's going to be in that value generating language, not the support enabling language. Because what goes away with support and enabling, right? Finance and accounting, human resources, information technology, right? Those kinds of roles kind of get hurt. Because accounting is nothing but numbers. No, it's not. It's understanding of numbers. Finance and accounting is understanding of numbers. But I can offload a lot of that to AI. Help me do analysis and all that stuff and elevate my teams. Granted, there will be roles that will be removed, but there'll be new roles that have to be created. For me to be able to do that in my company and leverage all that technology, I need a risk management framework. I need security. All of that comes to mind. So what I'm hoping for is that we all take a step back and we don't just look at it in terms of investing. Most of us are working. We're regular working people. And we've got to figure all that out. How do I remain relevant? Stepping up my skill. So in today's show, what did we do? We discussed AI and automation, what it's going to disrupt, and then we discussed where it's disrupting right now and what I might be able to do to step myself up to learn this stuff and make myself more valuable to organizations that are out there. So if I do get fired, I understand process management. I understand, I was able to automate blah, 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 or I know how to automate blah, 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 yada, yada. That makes you kind of a product manager. It's not about the job title. It's about the skills. That's what I want you to understand. It's not the job title. It's the skills. So not just investing in the technology, but investing in yourself first so that you can earn to be able to invest and increase your value, both your pockets and yourself. I told you, this is a different kind of community. It's not enough that we understand how to grow our bags, but we must also understand how to grow ourselves. It's a very big deal. Because if you're not willing to grow yourself, you're kind of destined for failure, no? But if you are willing to grow yourself, now that's powerful, isn't it? Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Wanted to bring some different kind of things to the table so you can start to understand there are alternatives to where you can be investing, how you can be investing, and kind of help you break down your investment strategy, right? So Red Star had a great question. What should I be investing in with regard to AI and automation? And it wasn't just AI and automation. It's the whole package. Break it down. And if you do it for AI, you just learned how to do it for other things too, didn't you? I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, if you like what I'm doing, do me a favor. Drop a like. Tell your friends about this community. We're still growing. I like that part. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you for your trust. Everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.